All right, we are going to talk emotional eating and how it's like an Insta-pot or a pressure cooker. So I had this great conversation with a coaching client yesterday, and we have her working on her emotional eating. And she, for the first several months, realized all the journaling she did around emotional eating was things that seemingly were external. It was, coworker, a problematic, friend, an issue with her family members, things that seemingly were outside of her. But then she started to realize that on the weekends when things were quiet, sometimes it was within her. It was a feeling of loneliness or disconnection or just feeling not good, right? Like it was an internal uncomfortable emotion. And we really dived into emotional eating, and she's like, why do I keep doing something like emotional eating when it's so counterproductive to my weight goals and it never fixes the problem? And I said, you have to think of it differently. It, in the moment, does, quote unquote, help with the problem. And we're really good as human beings at seeking out pain relief. If we're hurt, we take aspirin, right? If we get a cut, we put a Band-Aid on it. We don't want to continuously bleed or throb or have a splitting headache. We want to feel better. So the eating food is your quote unquote medicine or relief, the trained medicine or relief that you go to when you feel any kind of emotional discomfort. And so I used an illustration with her. I said, imagine a crock pot or an Insta-pot. You put the meat in it, you put it on the stove, you turn it on, and all this pressure is building up, right? That's your emotional feelings, right? All of it's building up. And you kind of have two options. One, turn off the stove, take the pot off, remove the heat source, actually slowly relieve the heat, pull the meat out. It's a time-intensive process, right? That requires many steps, and it requires you to really stop what you're doing and deal with this issue. Or, this is where emotional eating comes in. If you have your Insta-pot, you got that little pressure relieve valve where it just spits out a little bit of steam. That is the emotional eating equivalent, where you're not taking the pot off the stove. You're not turning the Insta-pot off and releasing the pressure and opening it and taking the food out. You're not doing that. You are just temporarily, you eat something, you push the little steam valve, swoop, swoop, it comes out, right? And for that nanosecond, you feel better. And she said to me, it seems as though even if it's 5 minutes, I struggle with sitting with that emotional discomfort. And again, humans like immediate feedback versus long-term payoff, right? Why do we impulse buy what we impulse buy? Because in the moment, we think we want the thing. 6 months later, do we even care that we have the thing? Probably not, right? So in the moment, we want something, we have it. We don't always think of our future selves. And so I explained to her that in the moment, we want the pain gone, but really what it takes is a clarity of thought to say, I know I want to relieve that little bit of pressure, poof, poof, eat the food, but I'm going to choose to sit for the 5-10 minutes, let this feeling subside, and then I am going to actually do the correct process. I'm going to process through how I'm feeling. I'm going to deal with the roast in the Insta-pot. I'm not going to try and shortchange the process. And you will probably not do that every time, but that's ideally where we want to get with this. We can sit with the discomfort. We can deal with the problem head on. We can take action steps that will actually fix it. And it was interesting. She's been journaling her emotions for the last few months, and she's like, I go back now and I laugh, Heather. I read these things I wrote and how angry I was and how upset I was with my coworkers or the situation. And now what I'm realizing is it wasn't that big of a deal. In the moment, your emotions feel very raw, very real. They feel very powerful. But given a couple months, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple hours, you're going to feel differently about that situation. And what I told her is, what we have to remember is our emotions are constant. They're like, it's like a river. I've used this example before in other videos, right? It's like a river, and on the river, leaves just keep going by, right? The leaves get picked up by the river, they keep going by. Each leaf is a different emotion. You feel different things. Right now, I could feel totally happy and excited, and I'm talking to you. In 5 minutes, I might be getting fussed at by my kids and I'm feeling annoyed. And people are asking me, what's for breakfast, Mom? You know, and so literally my emotions can change moment by moment, situation by situation. So if I allow them to dictate what I eat, what I do, my life would be a nightmare. Truly, it would be. I have to be able to distinguish between my thoughts and feelings versus what actions I'm going to choose to take intentionally to get myself where I want to be. And that's kind of what we want to work towards. So when we think, why do we emotionally eat? It's to relieve that little bit of pressure out of your Insta-pot, just so it doesn't explode, right? It doesn't really fix the problem. It doesn't end the cooking process. It doesn't preserve the meat or food that's in there. It doesn't do anything other than poof, poof, poof out a little hot air. If you really want to stop the process and you really want to fix the issue, you're going to have to pause what you're doing, go through the process of either letting out all the pressure, turning it off, taking the food out, you know, doing that, or you're going to have this consistent issue creeping in all the time. I would encourage everyone to be emotionally journaling, writing down what you're thinking and feeling in the moment, what you control versus what you don't control, and at least 2 to 3 action steps that you can take. If you get in the habit of doing that consistently, when you have the impulse to eat to deal with the feelings, you will start to see some similarities and connections in journal entries, and you might even be able to do some work ahead of time to improve the quality of your life, so that way you're not constantly battling those same emotional issues. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because I know I get that question a lot. It seems so counterproductive to emotionally eat, but yet it's not. It makes perfect sense. You want to get out of that as soon as you can. And for some of us, even sitting for 2 minutes with a discomfort emotional experience is almost impossible. I was never even aware of it when I was losing weight. Like, I just would immediately want to numb out with food, and I was completely oblivious to it until I started making myself sit with it. And I was like, wow, I felt something, and boom, I was in the pantry. And I needed to start putting some space and time in between me and the food, and allowing myself to sit a little bit with discomfort, so that way I could process the situation better. So anyway, just want to share all that with you guys. If you like these videos, please subscribe, share them with a friend, and leave me a note in the comment section so I can better help you. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.